provides knowledge on how the universe works. Without physics, computers, cars, cameras, and this video, etc., would cease to exist. The biography Isaac Newton by James Gleick is about one of the greatest physicists who led humans to the understanding of the world today. Sir Isaac Newton most importantly discovered the laws of gravity, optics, motion, and is one of the two people to invent calculus. The idea James Gleick presents to the reader about the biography is how mathematical proof is more superior to just theories of physics. It is shown by how the author presents the conflicts between Sir Isaac Newton and his enemies, how the author characterizes the subject, and the use of literary devices which helps emphasize the author's purpose of the biography.
I got all the answers to your questions. I'll be the teacher, you could be the lesson.
The specific lyric relates to the purpose of the biography because, in a way, just like the lyrics describe having the answers to all the questions, a mathematically proved concept also has the answers to all the questions, rather than just made-up theories which contain many unanswered questions. To begin with, James Gleick highlights Sir Isaac Newton's person versus person conflicts where Newton uses mathematical proof to support his physical concepts. One of Newton's major enemies was Robert Hooke. Hooke usually countered anything Newton discovered. One major topic between the two was about gravity. Gleick says, Hooke's essay offered a system of the world. It paralleled much of Newton's undisclosed thinking about gravity and orbits in 1666. Though Hooke's system lacked a mathematical foundation, Gleick 118. Gleick is highlighting the fact that Hooke's concepts lacked a mathematical foundation, which may have led to why he had lost the dispute and why Newton had won. Another major conflict with Hooke was about optics, the physics of light. Newton experimented and proved his theory of optics is accurate with math. Hooke, however, had a theory without solid proof. Other physicists still did not believe Newton's concepts. Gleick says he had discovered the great truth of nature. He had proved it and been disputed. He had tried to show how science is grounded in concrete practice rather than grand theories. Gleick 89. Newton's laws of optics are still used today. This person versus person conflict shows us that even though Newton was disregarded, his laws of optics are more superior because he had proved Hooke's theory wrong and his theory right with mathematical proof.
Math is a wonderful thing. Math is a really cool thing. So get off your act, let's do some math. Math, 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 math. 3 minus 4 is...
-1.
That's right. And 6 times a billion is...
6 billion?
Nailed it. And 54 is a 45 more than what is the answer, Martha?
9.
No, it's 8.
No, it's 9.
Yes, I was testing you. It's 9. And that's a magic number.
The girl in the song, Marta, clearly has more mathematical knowledge than Jack Black. Jack Black says 54 minus 45 is equal to 8, when the correct answer, which Martha states, is 9. Jack Black was just guessing. The specific lyric relates to the conflict with Isaac Newton and Robert Hooke, where Newton had more mathematical knowledge and proof than Hooke did in his physical concept about the laws of gravity. In other words, Martha is an example of how Isaac Newton has greater knowledge on mathematics which he uses to prove his concept about the laws of gravity, and Jack Black is an example of how Robert Hooke just predicts theories without showing any solid proof. Moving on, James Gleick tells the reader that Sir Isaac Newton, a legendary physicist, is someone who seeks and employs mathematical proof for his discoveries, which may have led to his success. Throughout the book, Gleick tells the reader about Newton's ideologies that mathematics is the key to understanding. Proof of this is when Gleick says, Isaac Newton believed mathematics as the road to understanding, and he said so, that he expected even the science of colors to become mathematical. Gleick 84. Also when Gleick says, above all, Isaac Newton wished to assert that optics was a mathematical science, rigorous and certain, that it depended on physical principle and mathematical proof, and that since he had learned these principles he had met with constant success. Gleick 87. Gleick mentions that mathematical science is rigorous and certain, and because Newton learned to use mathematical proof for his physical principles, he was constantly successful. In the way of showing how Newton was a man who looked for mathematical proof for physical principles and was successful in doing so, the author is implying that mathematically backed principles are superior because Newton is a successful man for the mathematical proof he showed with his physical concepts.
Counting sheep when you're trying to sleep, being fair. When there's something to share, being neat. When you're folding a sheet, that's mathematics. When a ball bounces off of a wall, when you cook from a recipe book, when you know how much money you owe, that's mathematics. How much gold can you hold in an elephant's ear? When it's noon on the moon, then what time is it here? If you could count for a year, would you get to infinity or somewhere in that vicinity? When you choose how much postage to use, when you know what's the chance it will snow, when you bet and you end up in debt. Oh, try as you may, you just can't get away from mathematics.
The lyrics in this song describe how math is used in daily life and how you cannot get away from mathematics as it is something essential to human knowledge. This song relates to how Isaac Newton believed in mathematics as the key to success, like James Gleick highlights in his biography. Just like how the song describes the ways we use mathematics in our daily lives, Isaac Newton implemented mathematics into the physical concepts which he founded. Lastly, James Gleick uses literary devices which help emphasize the purpose of the novel. A specific literary device used in the biography is where he quoted a couplet. The author says Alexander Pope's couplet found more readers, nature and nature's law lay hid in night. God said, let Newton be, and all was light. Gleick 178. Gleick is quoting a phrase from Alexander Pope's couplet, which basically implies that before Newton came, there was no clarity on nature's law, physics, but when Newton came to the world and employed his mathematically proved physical concept, everything became understandable and clear like light. Gleick perhaps used this phrase to indicate to the reader that Newton's physical concepts, backed by mathematical proof, had been so superior that he had been appointed by God. Gleick portrays Isaac Newton as a man who has been sent by God because of how well thought and proved his physical concepts are. Gleick says Isaac Newton had been a man on God's mission, seeking his secrets, interpreting his design. Gleick 174. The reader begins to think very eminent of Newton because Gleick is suggesting Newton had been appointed by God to lead humans to the understanding of the world.
God will make a way where there seems to be no way. He works in ways we cannot see. He will make a way for me. He will be my God.
The lyric picked up from the beginning of the song tells the listener that God will always make something happen even if something is not expected to happen. The song and the couplet James Gleick quoted are relatable, because the quote is telling the reader that before the Newtonian generation, all of Earth's laws were hidden, but now since God created Isaac Newton, he made something unexpected to occur. He created a man who focused on proving physical concepts with mathematics, which hadn't happened before the Newtonian generation. Ultimately, the idea James Gleick gets across to the reader is how mathematical proof is more superior to just theories of physics. It is shown by how the author presents Sir Isaac Newton and his person versus person conflicts with Robert Hooke, how the author characterizes Isaac Newton to be pro-mathematic, and the use of literary devices which helps emphasize the author's purpose of the biography. Remember to always study math, as it will always be the superior way to explain and understand the world. Thank you for listening.